Good evening. I'm Brian Reagan, and this is
Tyler Kelly.
And this is our unpaid intern. Technically, he's not Baby Yoda. Technically, he's a cardboard cutout of a fictional character. But our unpaid intern is here also. He will maintain silence, though, during our discussion. But tonight we are in Hebrews 11, 24 through 26, looking at Moses. And Tyler, if you will.
By faith, Moses, when he became of age, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the passing pleasure of sin, esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he looked to reward.
All right. So what we have here, and I want to address something in verse 25, and we'll look at the faith aspect a little bit more probably tomorrow evening, Lord willing. You have well-intentioned but ignorant people that say stupid stuff like, their sin isn't pleasurable. Okay, then you were doing it wrong.
You were doing sin wrong.
Yeah, you were doing sinning wrong. If you didn't get pleasure out of sin, you were screwing it up. Someone, don't talk like that. People will believe that sin's pleasant. It is. Not because I say so. Even God acknowledges. Because all sin and the pleasure of sin is based in the flesh. All sin pleasure derives from a heavenly pleasure and blessing, but it's always twisted so that its primary goal is the momentary feeling of endorphin release and nerve and sensual stimulation, sensory stimulation of the flesh. That's the point. Moses could have had all that. I mean, people use that, it's good to be king. Do you even know what that phrase means? Hi, I'm the king. Oh, look, there's 9 good-looking chicks in this village. Oh, Chamberlain of mine. I want all 9 of them in my bed this evening. That's the kind of power that kings had. And in some places, kings still kind of have.
That's what Xerxes does in Esther.
Pretty close.
Go round up all the eligible maidens in the land.
Yeah, I like how Tyler phrased that. Xerxes, my hot chick wife wouldn't do what I told her to parade herself in front of a bunch of other men. So go around the country, find me all the other hot chicks, and we'll have a competition of hot chicks, and the hottest of the hottest of the hot chicks is the one that'll be my next wife. That way, I can show her off, and that'll be proof of what a good king I am, because I got a hot chick wife. Moses had all that. Moses, when he said, no, I firmly believe Moses would have been Pharaoh. Moses would have been Pharaoh. Ignorant people that say Moses couldn't have been Pharaoh, he was a stutterer. Moses didn't stutter. Please. Well, that's what the Hebrew word doesn't. Tyler, I used to speak Spanish really well.
Good for you.
But after enough years of not speaking it, and not needing to speak it, when I went back to having to use it, all of the people who had to listen to me in Spanish that spoke it as their first language, I think some of them actually prayed to God, dear God, please don't let him keep speaking in Spanish. Moses spoke Egyptian. Moses spoke Hebrew. But when Moses married his wife and spent the next 40 years in the desert with Jethro's family, a priest of Midian, which were Ishmaelites, that was already the beginning of Proto-Arabic, just like the Hebrews spoke Proto-Hebrew. He had gone 40 years without speaking to anybody in Hebrew or Egyptian. And he'd been speaking an entire third language and hadn't been using the other one anymore. So when he says to God, look, man, I don't talk well. He says, I'll make Aaron your mouthpiece. No, Moses was an eloquent speaker. It's a shame when people say he wasn't. No, Moses was eloquent. He was a tremendous and phenomenal leader by the ways of men. And instead of the pleasure of sin that New King James says passing, I like the old King James. He chose rather than enjoy the pleasure of sin for a season. Sin's pleasurable for a season. There comes a time when even sin doesn't bring you as much pleasure as it once did. It's only for a season that it's actually truly pleasurable. The drug addict, the alcoholic, the addict of anything knows this. You know, you ask someone the first time that they ever got high. 20 times later, it took more to get almost the same effect. But it was never the same as the first time. And that's also part of the deceptiveness of sin. It's still pleasurable, but it's never as pleasurable as it goes forward as it was the first time. And the trap of it is that you have to increase the frequency of it to get almost the same result, that then it consumes the entirety of your life and person. And Moses chose a different path, and we'll talk more about that tomorrow night. Do you have any other thing?
No, sir.
All right. Then with that, we bid you good evening. Lord willing, we'll see you in the morning for our mornings with Brian and Tyler at 9 o'clock. Until then.